Morning all, we're going to get started here in just a few minutes. We're going to be using chat to communicate. I'm going to ask a question in chat. If you guys would go in and answer that, and make sure and choose the drop down where it says host and panelists and change that to everyone before you answer, please. All right, guys, go ahead and answer that question. All right, we got people from everywhere. It's great. We got a lot of Florida, Alabama, Maryland's in the house, Texas, of course, in the house. That's good. Morning, Ingrid. Tony, you should have a panelist link that we sent you. I don't see you logging in as the panelist. Make sure you click on that. It's this one right here. I'm going to resend it. So Tony, check your email and use that panelist link for me, please. All right, for those that are just logging in, if you guys would go in and comment in the chat, if you would, and let me know where you guys are coming from. So I've asked a question, what city are you joining us from? Hit that drop down where it says host and panelists and change it to everyone, and then give us your city. There is Tony. All right, we are cooking now.
Hey, Michael.
How are you?
Doing great, my friend, doing great.
Good. We got a big crowd today, guys.
Hey,
Big topic for everyone.
This is exciting. This is exciting. I think what happened is that incredible caption, that title that you came up with got everyone's attention.
Yeah, shift will get your mind.
Yeah, people looked at me like, have you lost your mind? I go, have you read it properly?
Yeah, exactly. People jump to conclusions. Yeah, what are you cussing for? No, we didn't cuss. Yeah.
All right, let's take a look. How many different states here? We got Virginia.
Got a lot of Texas, a lot of Florida. We got some Oklahoma City. Bill Thompson in the house. Hey, Bill, what's up, man? Jersey, Vegas. We got quite a wide swath, which is great.
Absolutely, that's great. We're up to 50 right now. You want to give it a couple of minutes before?
Yeah, let's give it just a few minutes, and we'll get started. Those that are in Florida that are joining us, and Tony as well, hope you guys made it out unscathed from Hurricane Ian. And if you didn't, hopefully it was minimal damage. I know destruction big time in Fort Myers. I've already donated to a couple different organizations down there that are doing some good work, helping everybody rebuild. Tough time for all of those.
Yeah, we're actually taking a truckload of items up there tomorrow.
It's good.
Yeah,
I remember when Houston got hit, and we had an opportunity to go down and actually muck out some of the houses in the apartment. Wow. We did that for a couple of days. I mean, what we did was a very small little part, but we did help. But just to see the overall destruction of everything was just mind-numbing. It was like, wow, the scale was crazy.
Absolutely.
All right. Also, those that are just joining us right now, please go in and comment in the chat. Let us know what city you're joining us from. Hit the drop down where it says host and panelists and change that to everyone. And the reason why I want you guys to do that is, number one, we want to see where everyone's coming from, of course. But this is also how we're going to be communicating. And as Tony is going in and talking, and I'm interviewing him, I'm going to be checking the chat and looking for questions to ask Tony. I have my set list. but we definitely want to have as much engagement as possible from the group as well, because I know this is a hot topic for many. This is a brand new topic for many, and it's a lot. And there's a lot of people like, you know, and as we'll get into this, Antonio explain it, like, really? I mean, we have to go down this road. What about equity? What about all the stuff that, you know, that the value that they have in their home? Tony's going to explain what we're going to be seeing. All right. Let's see how many we got here. We got about 72 out of 400 or so that are signed up. Let's go ahead and let's get started, because I want to value the time of the people that have been here and been here on time, and everybody else, of course, is going to get the recording. So keep in mind, later today, tomorrow, you will get an email that will have this recording. So you can take notes, but just know that you'll get that as well. Tony, let's just start a little bit with your background. If you would, can you tell everyone just a little bit about who you are and how you got involved with CDPE?
Sounds good, Michael. And thank you for this opportunity to, not only share Zoom with you, but the audience as well. Well, I am a licensed real estate broker in the great state of Florida. My wife and I own several offices, and we have a few agents. So I like to bring that up only because we're in the trenches every single day. We know what's going on in the market. I'm not the speaker that's removed and doesn't understand the challenges that not just that we're facing now, but we're going to be facing in 2023 and beyond. My road with the CDP actually began back in 2008. And I joined at that point the owners of the CDP back then. And I originally joined them in the capacity to kind of help, book events for them. But I volunteered to teach a class. It was probably one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done in my life, preparing to teach a 2-day class that had about 450 slides that I had to memorize and everything else. But I was able to teach my first class in January of 2009. I went on to teach hundreds of classes and taught thousands of agents about the short sale process. And along the way, I became their trainer of trainers. So I would prepare the other trainers to go out there and do same. But I went my separate way back in 2011 when I just kind of got burned out with the traveling and all the stuff that came with it, and opened up my brokerages. But I never lost the passion for teaching about short sales. But it kind of was put on the shelf for a while. And then 2020 came around. And when I saw the writing on the wall, over 8 million mortgages going into forbearance, and wondering how many of these people are going to be under the impression that they're never going to have to pay that back. And then COVID caused lockdowns and shutdowns, and companies went under and people lost their jobs and everything. I go, I think I need to prepare the next generation for what's coming. Right. And I was doing my own thing, and people kept asking me, I remember you, you're the CDPE dude. I go, yep, that's me. And then somebody says, are you going to turn this into a designation like the CDPE? And what a lot of folks didn't know was that the CDPE had actually shut down. In 2020, they had actually stopped supporting it because they moved on to other ventures. So I said, you know what? I got an idea, and I approached the former owners and I said, I love to buy the CDPE. I think there's a need, and I think I'm capable of carrying on the legacy. They agreed. We closed on the transaction May 20th of last year. And by the end of June, we had brought it back. And I've been one busy dude ever since, teaching agents across the country. But that's nothing compared to how busy we're going to be going into next year.
Right. Now, you brought it back, but it's not just you and CDPE kind of going out there, flying the flag, saying, hey guys, warning signs are coming. You've also had the opportunity to get some agreements in place with some of the major brokerages that are out there. Can you speak to that? I know you're working with some that you can't publicly talk about right now because it's still in the workings, but some of the ones that you can speak to.
Yeah, one of the things that we're most proud of is the fact that RE/MAX and RE/MAX University have once again endorsed the CDPE. So our course will become a part of the university probably within the next 2 or 3 weeks. In fact, I had the pleasure of just being out there last week in Denver and teaching the course live and in person right at RE/MAX headquarters. So we're excited, and we feel that more of the bigger companies and smaller independents are going to approach us, and we're approaching people aggressively as well. We're still the tip of the spear. A lot of folks haven't yet awoken to what's coming, but I applaud Remax for reading the tea leaves and saying this is something that we need to make sure our associates are aware of.
And I asked the group, and if you haven't answered this yet, group, you can answer this in the chat. I asked them, hey, when did you guys start real estate? And I'm looking at the numbers, and it seems like quite a few of them were in real estate before 2008, 2009, 2010, when CDPE, foreclosures, short sales, like that wave was coming in. But we do have some agents that, based on the year that they started real estate, they haven't experienced, this type of market. And let me step this back. This will be a good chuckle for everybody. So I teach a lot of real estate classes, and I teach lead generation and social media marketing. I'm based out of North Texas. For those that don't know me, my website's michaeltritthart.com. And a lot of the classes that I teach are workshops where you guys can come in and start to build and train and grow your business. And so a lot of them are going to be on site, but they're also Zoomed based. So I had one of the agents, a newer agent, come into one of my classes, and then a couple of days later, she messaged me, and I could kind of tell in the message she was in a little bit of a panic. She said, "Michael, I've got to talk with you." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, how can I help you?" And we're talking, and she goes, I got a listing." And I'm like, "Okay, congratulations. Is that what you're asking me for? I mean, what are you asking me for?" Right? And she's been in the business for about a year. She's like, "I got a listing. What do I do?" I'm like, "What do you mean? What do you do? Haven't you had a listing before?" She's like, "Yeah, but before I was getting multiple offers. What do I do?" Right? And I'm like, "Whoa, wait a minute. Her brokerage has never trained her, and she's never sought training on how to properly market a listing." Right? Because she came into a market where pretty much you were just a waiter or waitress taking orders, taking multiple offers on the property, and not really understanding what you have to do to market this property, right? Yeah. And so that was a big eye opener for me. There's a lot of agents that when we get into the market that we're getting ready to talk about, and Tony's going to share some stats with you, they're going to be in for a massive culture shock. There's going to be some agents that experienced 08, 09, and 2010, and they're going to be going, "Really? We got to do it again?" But they're going to gear up mentally and say, "Yeah, I'm at the tip of the spear, and I have to do this." So, Tony, speak to this a little bit, because I think this is the biggest question, and correct me if I'm wrong, group, and you guys can ask your questions in the chat. But this is a question I hear all the time in the classes when I mention CDPE. They go, "But wait a minute, there's so much equity in their house. Why do we need to be talking about short sales?"
Yeah, and I think that I understand where that's coming from. And one of the biggest changes that I've made in introducing or reintroducing the CDPE is try not to have my students, my members, lead with a short sale, lead with a short sale conversation. Let's go back in time. It was 2008, 2009. For every 10 properties in foreclosure, easily 6, maybe 7 of them were underwater. So you can understand why the assumption was there that if you were in foreclosure, you were automatically underwater. We can't do that now. What we have to do now is ask questions, get payoff amounts, do searches, and then arrive at whether they have equity and it's a regular sale, or they're underwater and it's a potential short sale. So I wanted to make that clarification there. And the other thing is this whole equity thing really, really bothers me, because I even had a conversation with a CEO of a major firm here in my state. And it was like, "No, I'm not going to pay attention to this. There's so much equity there, there's no issue." And I respectfully disagree. And I took issue with a couple things. Number one, there's a whole lot of people in foreclosure right now that have equity. Why are they in foreclosure? Because if you can't stay in the property, you should exit with dignity. There's no dignity in being shown to the curb by the sheriff. And if you can't stay in the property, why don't you enlist the services of a real estate agent to list the property as a regular sale and walk away with whatever cash you can walk away from? So there's not enough engagement. There's not enough agents that understand that the distressed property market is a viable niche to focus on. And then when you do engage that audience, whatever percentage is underwater, you need to know how to do a short sale. And that leads me to, there's a lot more future short sales than people want to let on. Because here's my thinking, and I'm no economist, and I take pride in stating the fact that I'm not trying to come across as an economist, but for the past 2 or 3 years, people have been refinancing their properties more than once. You've seen this.
Yep.
Many of the agents that go to our classes, you ask them to hold up their hands and say, did you refi in the past 3 years? Yeah. More than once? Yeah. Let me ask you, did you do the responsible thing and just do rate and term? No. What'd you do? I pulled out cash. Did you pull out cash once or twice? Yeah. And Americans are using their homes as an ATM right now. And this is the part that scares me. Now, factor in what's going to happen with prices. I mean, just based on today's prices alone, people should be a little worried about whether there's really a lot of equity. Now factoring the projected price reductions and corrections that we're going to get. And this is not my opinion. I'm happy to share some facts, and people can do their own due diligence. Yesterday, I was at an investor conference, and I'm bringing this presentation, and there was a very learned individual in the audience. And I really was looking at him to connect with me because he had a background in real estate. And I saw that he really wasn't like making eye contact with me. And I'm going, you know, as a speaker, you're wondering, man, I must not be connecting with this person.
Right.
This person came up to me afterward and says, I wasn't ignoring you. I was checking your numbers. I was on the computer and everything you said was dead on. Numbers don't lie.
Yeah. Now, talk to us about the debt that Americans are seeing right now. You shared this number with me prior to our call. This is pretty mind-blowing.
It's scary. It's scary. So the figures came out a couple of weeks ago, and I have it in a slide. I don't know if you want me to pull up the slide or not, but let me tell you right now that Americans are getting in some atrocious debt to the tune of $300 billion additional debt, which is a record. And what's really scary is that all that 300 billion, the vast majority of it, if not all of it, is the bottom 90% of households. The top 10%, they're not feeling the pinch.
Right.
You know, this is a recession that's really socially, economically driven. The wealthy, what adjustments are they going to make in their life? Right? But it's everybody else is feeling it. So feel it, the 90%, the bottom 90%, they're in debt up to their eyeballs. And this is just continuing, you know, with inflation the way it is, and people are struggling. You know, that's about, I've heard a number as high as 70%. I'll give you a conservative number, say 62% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Mm-hmm. In fact, a lot of them don't even make it from one paycheck to the other. They have to run down to the payday loan place and take out a loan for 30% interest to get them by for a few days until the next paycheck comes in.
And it's dual family incomes just squeaking by. I shared a chalkboard writing from a local restaurant on social media. And it was basically talking about why, you know, they said, why have our prices increased? And then they listed out all the ingredients like flour and sugar and all this other type of stuff. And they showed the prices for in 2020, 21, and 22, and how everything has gone up. And I got a private message from a gentleman that I know. His name is Chris. He used to own a Mary's Mountain Cookie franchise, but he sold it to somebody else. And then he moved and got into a corporate gig. He goes, I talked to the owner of it. He goes, his monthly expenses for ingredients, it used to be $10,000 a month. Now it's $13,000 a month, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, look at that. And that's just one small take. And here's something else to keep in mind. Again, when everybody comes back to the equity and they're like, short sales, really? I mean, really? Think about this. In 21 and part of 20, you couldn't find a used car, right? And we were all told it's the chips, you know, it's transfer issues, right? And you know, we can't get the chips, we don't have the cars. Has anybody ever driven by a CarMax recently, or any of these other large dealerships recently? The used car lots are filled back up, at least around me here in North Texas. And the reason why is people are selling those cars, right? Or they've gotten repossessed. And the
Yep,
cars are the first thing to go. Then here
absolutely.
comes the houses, right?
Yep.
So that's kind of like one of those warning signs of danger ahead. I do have a question that came from the group. I want to make sure I answer this. So Sue said, hey, is this only about short sales, or are we going to address how to work foreclosure properties as well? What's part of the CDP?
Yeah, that's a great question. So here's what we're trying to do. Our mission is to avoid foreclosure, right? So we are not an REO company. We're not an REO training. And I know a lot of agents, and I have a friend of mine that owns a wonderful REO certification, and we're two sides of the coin. By the time it becomes an REO, that homeowner has lost a property, and now they're facing all of the dire consequences of having a foreclosure on their record. And it could be everything that the fact that it stays on their credit report for 7 years, it might cost them the job they have now, the job that they wanted. If they have a security clearance, it might threaten their security clearance. It might prevent them from being able to get a traditional loan for 5 to 7 years. I mean, I could go on. There's a lot of consequences, right?
Right.
What we try to do is help them avoid that. Now, the problem is that most agents simply don't understand how to engage or approach a distressed homeowner because it's not the typical script. It's not the typical approach or dialogue. Well, my course teaches that, but we primarily center on the fact that, look, if they're in foreclosure and you know how to approach them and you convince them that foreclosure is not the only option and they list with you as a regular sale, well, you should know what to do at that point. You don't need my training.
Right.
But for those that don't have equity, we teach you how to do a short sale. And that's what the bulk of the CDPE class is all about.
Okay. And Brandon Louder mentioned, hey, we've done 2 short sales this year because the homeowner participated in the recent forbearance programs. And I think
Yeah,
that's
and Brandon's a good friend of mine and one of the most knowledgeable agents that I know out of the great state of Colorado. And he mentioned forbearance, and at what point there were over 8 million people that were in forbearance. And I think that number is down to about 6% right now. At the end of the day, folks that they did a workout with the bank. Did that involve taking the amount of the payments that they didn't make and adding that to the back of the loan?
right.
Those are the loans that get forgotten after a few months. So there's going to be people that are going to put their house up for sale in the future, the near future. And guess what's going to happen? That loan's going to rear its ugly head. They're going to say, what do you mean I owe 10,000? Oh yeah, because you worked out a forbearance agreement. You know what else I'm really scared about, Michael, and a lot of people don't even talk about this is, and this is what I shared with that CEO as well. I said, what about everyone that bought in the past 2 years, 2.5 years at the very top of the market? What is the price? There's a neighborhood around the corner from me
Right.
that one of my agents sold that house for $60,000 above appraised price. So what is the real value, right?
Right.
So when those properties start to drop in value, and FHA, there's people in your audience right now that do a lot of FHA deals. These folks went in with only 3.5% equity. So if there's a 3.5% reduction in property values, they're underwater.
Yep.
If they bought VA, they went in with 0 money down. They're 100% leveraged. I saw an ad the other day on TV for a VA refi, 100% of LTV. Banks are pushing HELOCs like crazy now. Why are they pushing home equity line of credit? Because their refinances have dried up, right?
Right.
90% loan to value. Come on, audience. How many of you guys were around back in 2006 and 7? You remember us being able to refinance to 105% loan to value.
Yep.
How did that work out for us?
Exactly. And Tina, I think, asked the perfect question at the perfect time. She's like, can you quickly talk to the point of lenders and agents recommending ARMs? And, I saw this at a high level in 07 and early 8. And she's like, I don't want to see this again. She's like, no, not again.
No, Tina, it's coming because they have no choice. Our interest rates are probably going to jump up as high as 10%. The last Fed increase took us from 5 to 7 almost overnight. The Feds are meeting again in November. All right. I think this Thursday, the consumer price index will come out and we'll see whether inflation is being tamed or not. I don't think so.
Right.
Okay. So this is, and the recent employment report, again, the economy is too heated right now. They're going to have to raise the rates again, at least once, maybe twice. So what's happening is when interest rates start to reach 9 and 10%, the affordability factor goes out the window. So people are going to have to get creative. And that means adjustable rate mortgages. They're going to become exceptionally popular again, which means that down the road, who knows? And you know what some lenders are going to use? They're going to use the same dialogue as they did in 2006 and 7. But don't worry, before it resets, you'll be able to refinance.
Yeah. Now, what about this? And this is a question that comes up, and I've had this in the class as well. And there may be some people thinking about this as well. Tony, how bad is it going to be? I mean, how bad is this recession going to be if people are still working? Like it can't be that bad, right?
Oh, my friend. And you know what? I got to give this disclaimer, and I can say it again. People will say, well, Tony, who are you to comment on this? I think I have a right to comment on anything I want. I have my opinion, but I also back it up with facts.
And if you want to share your screen,
yeah, let's go ahead and I would love to do that. I think that would be very helpful. So let's see. Can you see my PowerPoint okay there?
Yep.
All right. So what do I move through quickly here, right? I'm not an economist, but I'm not this dude, right?
Right.
So here are the stats. Top 5 states foreclosure starts first half of 2022.
Slides are not moving. Sorry, slides are not moving.
Okay, hold the door a second. Hold on, I can fix this.
There we go. Yeah.
Power.
Now we can see it.
Hold on. Let me see here to slideshow. I knew it. It was presenter screen. Is that better now?
That is better.
Okay. So these are the top 5 states. You know that most of my calls are from the West Coast right now. California has the biggest reduction in price and values right now. So foreclosure starts first half of this year. Florida. The only shocking state here for me is Tennessee. How that happened, I don't know.
That's kind of surprising.
The other 4 states were the top 4 and 5, during the last crash and everything else. So Adam, which is an incredible source here, we see that in 2022, we see that foreclosure activity is already starting to approach pre-COVID numbers. All right, so keep an eye on that. Yeah. Next, increase. All right, 12% increase from the month before, 187% increase over the year before. Now, I know what people are thinking. This is an August number. September should be coming out the next day or so. People go, Tony, but you're comparing against really, really low numbers against last year. I go, I get it. There was hardly any foreclosures last couple of years because of the moratoriums. But the point is the lenders are waking up. All
Yep.
the moratoriums are done, and they're starting to foreclose again. Now, in the first half of 2022, foreclosure filings, that means going all the way to taking the house away, it's up 153% over the year before. Okay. Now, scheduled auctions, default notices, everything, August, 14% increase over the month before, 118% over the year before. So you see a pattern, right? Now, this is an important one because I'll actually hear this. Well, there's no REOs. The banks are not really foreclosing. Tell that to the 20,750 folks that lost their homes in the first half of this year to foreclosure. Now, what are the top 5 states for REOs right now? Illinois, Michigan, Pennsylvania, California, and Florida. So now here's what I think is the saddest part. You take this number, 20,750. What percentage of these folks knew that there was another option, but willingly chose to let the bank take their home and face all of the issues that come with that, like a deficiency judgment potentially?
I would say 8 out of 10 people probably had no idea there was another option because most of the agents out there don't even really know there's another option. Going back to my brand new agent of how do I market a listing type situation, we haven't had that type of training, right? Yeah. We haven't seen it in the market.
Yeah. You're absolutely right, my friend. Ooh, this should get people's attention. With populations over 1 million, who had the worst foreclosure rates? Jacksonville, wow. Riverside, Orlando, Illinois. So, I mean, wake up, people, and don't take my word for it. Go to adam.com and pull the stats for yourself. This should get your attention. Zombie foreclosures. Okay, what is that? That means properties that are at some stage of the foreclosure process and have been abandoned. 1.3 million.
That's
And
correct.
many of these probably aren't represented in the MLS or anything yet. So these haven't hit the market. Now, why would anybody that's losing their home because they're not paying the mortgage move prematurely into an environment where they're probably going to have to pay rent somewhere? And it's probably because they did not understand what their rights were and what the process was in foreclosure in their state. That's what the CDPE teaches.
And see,
Now,
our group here, they're on target. As soon as you pulled that slide up, Frederick posted his message. Tony, not only REO activity, that they are now meandering into the world of deficiency judgments, and these are being filed with the judgments in New York City foreclosures.
that's my buddy Frederick, and he's probably one of the most knowledgeable people I know and one of the biggest supporters of the CDPE, brother. So thank you so much. Let me recap real quick, because again, I know that I'm the wet blanket. I may not be invited to a lot of parties going forward. I was teaching this class on Friday of last week, and the person goes, "I'm depressed," and I'm like, "Yeah, listen,
Happy holidays."
yeah, it is what it is, right?"
Yeah.
But we mentioned the moratoriums are out of the way, right? So they can foreclose. All right, you see the pattern with the inflation and what its impact is having on our market. Here's the impact, right? You have Americans every single day that are deciding whether to fill their tank with gas or put food on the table. I was listening to the news earlier, and food banks are becoming very popular now. This is the greatest country on earth, and people are having to go into food banks to be able to feed their families. Think about that. The feds are going to raise and raise and raise the rates until they get inflation under control. Now, you know why people have said this is not a real recession? Because employment is so strong. So I pay attention to this, right?
Right.
And it's one of those things where you can manipulate the stats to mean whatever you want. One reason unemployment is so low is because the participation rate is at one of the lowest levels ever. There's a lot of folks that simply are not going back to the workplace. Now, maybe it was COVID, they got used to working from home. They don't have the option to work from home anymore, and they're not going to work. And I'm thinking, God bless you. You don't want to work, don't work. But doesn't it come a point where you still have to pay your bills?
Yeah.
Now, here's
You
what the
would think,
feds,
right? Yeah.
you would think, I could be wrong, but check this out, ABC News, right? It talks about the Federal Reserve and its fight against inflation. And it says here that they know that it's going to come with pain. They know that the rising rates are going to cause a rise in unemployment. So the job losses forecasted by the Fed this week would by the end of 2023 raise the unemployment rate from its current level to 4.4%. The outcome would add an estimated 1.2 million to the unemployment rolls. Consumer debt, there's the number right there. Source Federal Reserve. We added the highest level of debt ever, right? The recession.
And Brandon pointed out credit card debt has increased 16% this year, biggest jump ever.
Yeah. And wait till those folks start defaulting on those credit cards and the interest goes insane. Because, people never read the fine print on that. And it goes in what? Upper 20s, upper 30%. I trust what 97% of executives say. And that is we're either in a recession, which technically we are, or we are headed into one. And these are, the captains of capitalism here, right? Now, this is the thing. Property values, who gets high on their own supply every single time? Real estate agents. You were around back in 2006 and 7 when the word housing bubble, the phrase housing bubble was rearing its ugly head. Who pushed back against that more than anyone else? Real estate agents. We weren't going to accept this. Now check this out. According to Core Logic, here's where they see prices dropping the most. Look what's going on the West Coast.
Yeah. Arizona.
Arizona.
The
These are
usual
places-
suspects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the East Coast over here. Look at Florida, right? So my area, the Tri-County area here, is a high probability, right? And then the rest of the state is pretty much very high probability. The prices are coming down. This one here scared me. This is an amazing report. You go to Black Knight and you download this report. It's like a 25-page report. And again, you go through it. It talks about defaults and it talks about forbearance, and you talk about all these things here. But here's what got my attention, man. I used this yesterday in my presentation. July and August 2022 marked the highest single month price increases since 2009. Now, check this out. The housing market has not seen such a significant 2-month drop in prices since shortly after the collapse of Lehman Brothers in the winter of 2008.
Wow.
It's coming, brother. Now, here in my area, you know, everywhere I go, people are waking up to the fact that the number of offers are down, days on market is up, right? Price reductions, which we didn't see for 2 years, are becoming ubiquitous. But look at my area for July. It shows that Broward County, where I'm at, July 2022 closed sales down 30%. Pending sales down 22.5%. It's happening, right? Should we address this?
Yeah, I mean, we're building the O shift cake. Let's go ahead and put the icing on it. I mean, if 2008 was a 100-foot tsunami of badness, what are we forecasting here?
Yeah, man, we're on the same page. It's almost like you and I talk, right? So
Yeah.
Here's 2008. Here's this rock, right? This person standing on this rock at 100-foot tsunamis coming their way. That's 2008. And people ask me all the time, Tony, what do you think is going to be as bad? I'm going, no, I don't think it's going to be as bad statistically. Now, let's say it's 2023 and the same person is standing, or a different person, I hope, is standing on this rock. It's not a 100-footer, it's a 20-footer. Does it really matter? Does size really matter right about now?
No.
Because I'm thinking they're not saying, well, it's not as bad as it was. They're going under. And that's all that matters to them.
So what can CDPE do? And number one, help these individuals, because that's what it's all about. And
so
having an agent being a steward of guidance and support through a very difficult time.
Yeah, so here's what I like to do. And if you allow me 5 minutes, I'll flesh out these slides. And I think this will help everyone in terms of what path to take. Because we've been talking, I said, you got this cake that we're building. How do we help people? Well, let's just look at the facts. There are going to be people that are in foreclosure that have equity. Those are regular sales. And those that don't have equity are short sales. But either way, they all part of one group called distressed properties. And distressed properties are the low-hanging fruit because it's not sexy.
Yeah.
You know, my buddy Michael Lafido, he's an amazing guy. He's got the #1 luxury designation. And who doesn't want to be luxury, man? I love it. That's sexy. Distressed properties isn't sexy, but let me tell you what distressed properties isn't. It isn't crowded. And this is a time to get in. Equity, regular sales, Reos, let's avoid those like the plague, right? Short sales, there's going to be chaos, but there's going to be opportunity. And look, some people, many CDPs back in 2008, 9, and 10, they had their best years ever helping people avoid foreclosure. So we got the training. Now that the CDPE is back, it's just a matter of making a decision, committing. Right. You know, I've gotten so many people congratulating me recently on this decision. And when we first brought it back, it was only through Zoom. I had to do it through Zoom. We were in the midst of the pandemic. I still have one more Zoom series left, which actually starts today. I'll mention that in a second. Okay. But we're gravitating now toward an on-demand version, which will be live by the time this Zoom series is over. And guess what? It's back live and in person as well. The membership has way past 1,000. I think we're going to be at about 5,000 by the end of 2023, based on everything that's happening. It's
And
not
let's,
just
let's pause on that too.
yeah.
Look at the amount of agents that are out there actively in the market, and you're saying 5,000 are going to be there. This is going to be the group that, just like 08, 09, and 10, changed, right? Changed their course of direction on their business because they had to. There's going to be a lot of agents, quite honestly, when they see what they have to do from a short sale point of view and all that, they're going to be like, I'm done, I'm out, right? I mean, there's going to be a culling, you know.
It's going to happen. I mean, I think we boast that we have 1.6 million members of NAR. We're not going to have 1.6 million members of NAR by the end of next year. And I think it's going to get really, really, really bad in 2024. You know, we're going to be entering the holidays pretty soon. People are going to get the holiday moratorium against foreclosures. This is a really good time for agents to get their knowledge on, so that they can hit the ground running in 2023. The tip of the spear is 2023. The real bad situation is going to be 2024. And so when we teach the agents, we don't just say, good luck, guys, you know, have at it. It's a membership. You take the course and you have a 1-year membership, which includes a host of different things here. I think our dashboard and 24/7 access to resources is a great thing to have. And look, people are going to ask, well, how much is it? Normally it's $4.99 for the class, and it includes the first year's membership. But in honor of you putting this on, I like to go extend a special price to you guys. For anyone, you know why I think this class is really cool coming up, Michael? I think there's got to be a certain percentage of the people in the audience that are Florida-based, but not just that. There's people that are coming to the NAR convention. The NAR convention is going to be in Orlando this year, and it starts November 11th. So businessman that I am, I said, how about I set up a class live and in person November 10th in Orlando? So if somebody wants to come, is coming down for the convention, come a day early and attend the class. It's a full day class. For most people, this one is going to be the one that's going to appeal to them, the Zoom-based version. And this is done over 5 weeks, 5 2-hour sessions. So they get a chance to absorb the information. And something that a lot of people wouldn't do, but I do, and this is the last group I'm doing it for. I know there are people that are not going to be able to make some of these sessions. It happens, right? So you know what I do? I record every session. Because like, for example, when I'm done with you, my friend, an hour after I'm done with your call, I'm jumping on session 1 of 5. So for those that can participate in this one, great. But what if somebody says, man, I really want to join this, but I can't make today's?
Exactly.
I record it. And guess what? The recordings do not have an expiration date. So when they get the recording, they may not even pay attention to it for 6 months until they see, I got to do it. That's okay. Go into the recording. It'll be there waiting for you. So you can make payments through PayPal, which helps a lot of people afford it. This is at the regular price, or this is at the discounted price, because I'm going to give your group a $3.99 special. No Ginsu knives. I'm not throwing in any Ginsu knives. But I think this is a very fair price, but I have to give people this warning. We use this coupon code 100MT for Michael, because if not, then the system will charge you $4.99. So again, you can jump on the call today, and if you missed the call today or any of the other ones, you still get the recording.
So Tony, do me a favor. Can you go back about 4 or 5 slides back to that dashboard?
Yeah.
I want to show that to everybody. There we go. So I think a big part of this, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think a huge part of this is, number one, the scripts, because this is foreign territory for a lot of people, right?
Yep.
And that's going to be a huge opportunity. But then the Spanish resources as well, too. the bilingual aspect.
Yeah, and
of
we
all
need to
that.
build that out more. I made a commitment. I actually made the commitment to Remax. I said, okay, if we get back in business together, I'll make you a promise. I'll have the Spanish version of the CDPE available in the first quarter of 2023. So I'm going to be translating all of this into Espanol, and then we'll be able to teach the class via the on-demand and also live and in person in Spanish as well.
That's awesome. I just wanted to point that out because you guys are going to have so much resources. Now that's if they become a CDPE member.
Yeah.
Is there other levels? Is there an
Yeah.
advanced program?
Absolutely. And this is how you and I connected, because one of the most popular components of the previous CDPE was that we had what was called an advanced membership. And really the advanced membership was a marketing package. We know that agents get busy. We all want to do more from a marketing perspective, but nobody wants to stare at a blank sheet of paper and come up with this. So ta-da! Through our collaborative efforts, we're just about ready to introduce the advanced program. And I think that we should be able to have this live by NAR, because I want people to come by the booth and say, you know, how do I get involved with the advanced? And let's answer the most important question. Can you just skip over the regular CDP and go right to the advanced? No. This you have to take, because you have to know what to say, when to say it, and how to say it.
I know some agents out there, they're like, I don't need basic training. Just put me in Navy SEAL training. I got
Yeah,
this.
absolutely. Yeah, just jump in. But just briefly, man, I love what you have done, Michael, because you and your team have put together such a beautiful, attractive, functional distressed property website. When you want to engage distressed homeowners, you don't send them to your regular website. They don't care about looking for listings. They don't care about seeing you walking hand in hand with your loved ones on the beach. They're losing their home. What can I do? Do I have any options? And you and your incredible team, what you've put together is going to be unbelievable. So
let me share my screen on this, and
let me get out of here.
Yeah, I want to pull up one of the sites here. So Jeff Kale on my team and Tony connected, and Jeff is the gentleman who manages my website design team, and we saw an opportunity to help each other, but more importantly, we saw an opportunity to help the CDPE members to get a website. And the sites themselves, the sites are like 99.9% done. We're working on a lot of the back office type situations. This is what one of the sites would look like. You would have a video option that would showcase, and even though it's a video, it's going to load very quickly. It's going to be eye-catching. You're going to come down here. Here's Jeff. Here's your certified distressed property expert. So your sites are going to function this way. The lead capture that comes in is going to go straight back to you. The ebook, you don't have to worry about creating the content. That is created. That's a hook already. So the lead capture's all coming into you. You're going to have blog capabilities. You're going to be able to put all your information in there from a social media point of view. I mean, these sites are going to be smoking. Now, the biggest thing I want to point out about the sites is, even though we're still, beta testing it, alpha testing it, it's almost done. I mean, it's ready to roll out here within the month. If you go out and do a Google search for Save Your Home Hawaii, we already have the site's ranking, right? I mean, that's part of the training and the SEO capabilities, search engine optimization capabilities of these sites, is they're going to come up and they're already going to start to showcase and appear within the Google search rankings. So if you are the tip of the spear, you're going to get that opportunity to be the first one on these Google search engines to start to rank with these sites, which is going to be huge from a lead capture capability.
Yeah, and what Jordan, your design genius there, IT genius, these sites are so easy to customize. They have options of the background. They have the static photo option. They have the video option. So you have 24/7 access to the back office. We have resources that are built in, videos that are built in, and it's fluid because as we make and enhance it, more is happening. And then there's another component to this advance. The website itself would be enough, But then me partnering with my buddy Brandon, we're going to have a postcard campaign, a flyer campaign, a blog, an email. All of these are going to be involved. So every month they're going to go to their dashboard and there's a new campaign for them to copy and paste and personalize. So it's an all-in-one solution for them.
Right. And Catherine just mentioned former advanced members had the postcards, the email, et cetera, as well as the website. And so advanced members, you're going to have that. It's all going to be updated. And as Tony said, we're also working on the Spanish versions as well, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's going to be great.
Yeah.
One of the questions asked, I saw pop up is, does
Sure.
the $3.99 include the first year? Yes, it does. The $3.99 includes the first year's membership. And then look, after that, it's only $99 a year. That's nothing. Let me address something too.
Sure.
You know, the CDP got up to almost 48,000 members back in the day. All right. And so a lot of them are no longer in business and everything anymore. But one of the first things I did when I acquired the CDPE was to grandfather in the OGs. I call them the old guard or original gangsters. They can take their pick. And for the $99, they could reinstate their membership. And I didn't force the course on them. Now, the course was available, and it should be available to people that want to get a refresher. A lot of these OGs haven't done a short sale in 10 years. But I want to make sure that everyone understands that you have to get in stages. You can't get the advanced until you've done the regular one, or you're at least an active CDP. I think people have confusion. I've had about a handful of people that said, but my CDP was for life, huh? I go, no, marriage is for life. Taxes is for life. The membership is annual. Yeah. So if I don't show you as active, you're not a CDPE. So I would like people to go ahead and, if they have any questions, send an email to support@CDPE. Jeanette can write that into because I had people say, I think I'm an OG. I think I'm current. I think I'm not, so let me address a couple other questions that are coming up here. How much is it going to be? I think what we're doing right now, Michael, is we're still tweaking it because we want to make sure that we come in at a price. It's not going to be $99 like it was a month, like it was 14 years ago.
Right.
Okay. There's inflation. All right. But we're going to make it affordable. So I don't know if we're going to say anything at this point, or do we just save that for the great reveal and we invite people to get on the waiting list to find out?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we'd like for everyone to do, because we're still adding features into it, and Brandon, who's doing the postcard side of it, he's bringing a lot of those elements in there. So if you are interested in the advanced program and the websites, here's the wait list. I've put that in there, and we're going to open up the advanced aspect, which is the websites, the postcards, everything. We're going to open that up initially to the first 100 agents that sign up on the wait list. Because
can
number one, we want to make sure
list in the chat room. Can you put the wait?
Yeah, I did. I put it into the chat. I'll list it a couple times there. Okay. But we want to make sure that number one, that when we roll this out, that we're doing it where there's form and function for all of the users. We don't want to just like slam the design team and have everybody wait on that. So, the first 100 that sign up on that list, then they're gonna get their site sooner than everyone else, of course. And we're gonna make sure that we're hitting our delivery times on that.
A couple questions that were on the thing there, if you don't mind, I would like to address. Someone posted, I have literature that states that it's lifetime. I would love to see that literature because no one's presented it, but just understand something, it's under new management. I'm not obliged or obligated to honor anything that was done by the former ownership. It's kind of like somebody that says, hey, I come to this restaurant and I always got my meals for free, and the restaurant was sold to a different owner, and you're expecting the new owner to honor that, so again, you may or may not have that literature. I love to see it because no one's yet to produce it, but I'm not under any obligation to honor that. It's enough that I honored the $99 a year. I didn't even have to do that. So that's just my position, and it's non-negotiable. I'm an unapologetic capitalist.
Well, and I think too, for those that were on the older system, and I agree that, it is under new management, but it's also new additions to the site that you never had before. Number one.
Yeah.
And there's an intrinsic value to that. I mean, when our beta testing site is already ranking on the first page of Google with just a little bit of work, you guys are going to see a massive uptick in the amount of leads that are going to be coming in. So I think there were some other questions that we missed here. I want to make sure.
One was about, would this apply to $1 million homes or
Yes,
more?
will this impact $1 million properties and up?
Absolutely. In fact, they're easier to do a short sale on because, look, the banks don't want the properties back. That's a big myth. Oh, the banks are trying to take people's homes. No, they don't. It's the servicers are there to collect the mortgage payments. They're not there to take houses back. They have no choice, right, because they have to abide by the contract. And it says, if you don't pay, we foreclose on it. But when you foreclose on a property that's 300, 400, 500,000, there's a huge potential pool of buyers. When you foreclose on a property of $1 million or more, the pool of buyers is significantly less. Right. So if they don't want $400,000 back,
they don't want $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Frederick said, question, CDPE instructor training update.
Yeah, so what happened is, so I ran into kind of a problem trying to get more instructors because I created 2 levels. One is presenters and one is instructors. Presenters are the ones that are trained to do a 45-minute, and I couldn't get anybody to get past the 45-minute one, much less to teach the entire class. So right now I'm looking for presenters, folks that can help me market the CDPE. And then from there, if they truly have a desire to invest the amount of time it's going to take to learn how to teach the entire full-day class, then we're going to go ahead and bring on additional instructors. I need it. I can't be everywhere at one time, but I need to take a different path. So right now, if someone's interested in being a presenter, reach out to us and we'll begin the process of seeing. And look, I'll be very blunt. If they have what it takes to be a presenter, right? And then if they can be a presenter, do they have what it takes to become a full-fledged instructor and teach all this content over a full day?
So we got about 6 minutes left. Let's make sure we get as many questions answered as possible. Catherine asked, estimated time frame to launch for the advanced. Our goal is to have it ready for NAR by November, I think 10th at the very latest. We're waiting on a couple elements to come in, and then my design team can go and put those finishing touches on it, and we're gonna get that rolled out as soon as we physically possibly can. Janet said,
I think NAR, right. I think shooting for NAR is realistic.
Yeah. We just gotta get that info, and then we'll get you guys that information cranked out, and you guys will love the results that are going to be coming to you. Janet says, do you think this will impact investment rental properties?
In what sense? I don't know.
I'll look for a follow-up from her,
yeah,
on that as we go through the other questions here. Let's see. I think we answered a lot of these.
There's a couple here. It says, how long is a $399 good for? I don't like to put that hard close of you got to do it by today, kind of thing. I think that probably the safest bet is that we'll honor that through the end of the year, and then after that, all bets are off going into the next year. We have Kimberly says, I'm super interested in being a presenter. Please send me your information at support@cdpe.com. Paul wrote, are the forms from the old CDP still valid, or are you rewriting everything? Certain forms are. When we went in, I had to go form by form, and there's certain ones that didn't apply anymore and certain ones that had to be revamped. Yes, that all was looked at. A lot of the old lender forms are not there because those programs are no longer available. HAMP is not available anymore. Right. And a lot of the lenders have not really caught up to what's going on. See, one of the things, and sometimes people are not necessarily realistic. They go ahead and they say, well, Tony, the old CDP had the lenders and the servicers, and they were all sending leads our way. I go, yeah. And did that happen overnight? No, because it took reaching critical mass, several thousand students before the servicers recognized that we were a force to be reckoned with, and the need was there. You have to understand, distressed properties was the market back then. Okay, it's not the market right now. It's a growing niche. So we want to have lenders recognize us. There are things going on behind the scenes right now to open those doors, but every single one of the players that was in position 12 years ago, none of them are still in those jobs.
Right.
So we're starting from scratch on that again.
And I think that answers Odette's question, which is there any networking with the banks and lenders introducing or refreshing the fact that CDPE is available?
Yeah, I'd like to answer Kathleen. OGs were also given a discount on taking the class again. It's not required, but every single OG that's taken it has said, wow, this was such a great refresher. It was such a great way to remind me. And, you know, and a lot of time has passed, and maybe I wasn't your instructor, you know. I like Ruth, whose lifetime it was closed down.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much says it all. Okay. Any other questions? Any
looks like we got
comments?
one that says, I'm interested in becoming a presenter. So just email support@cdpe.com for that. The recording, we're going to try to get this out to you today, at the very latest tomorrow. We've got to get it all packaged up and sent over to you. Let's see.
I love that.
Register for your class today. Tony, can they register for the class
today?
Yeah,
go to cdpe.com, find where it says online. It shows the Zoom class is starting today, and it starts at 1 p.m. Eastern. All of my Zooms are Eastern time, so make that time allowance for West Coast. Thank you so much. They can sign up for that one, but please use the code 100MT, no space, 100MT to get the $399 price.
Cap sensitive on the
No.
MT? Okay.
It is not.
Okay. All right. Jamie said, I missed how much Michael's website for the cost are, and I've already signed up for the CDPE training. The advanced program, we are not going to give you the number as of yet today, because we're still finalizing all the elements that are going to be going in there. But it is definitely we're going to make it well worth it. And once we get everybody on the wait list, we'll be sharing the cost on that, and then all of the features that you're going to get. And then I think you guys are going to see that it's well worth the investment on that. Yeah,
we're not going to price ourselves out of the market. That wouldn't be smart.
It's one of those things where we want this to be a win for you, because it's going to be a win for your people. You know, we got to remember, step back from this. What we're talking about is helping people in a really, really tough situation. And we got to be sincere about that. And we're very sincere about what we're going to be offering to you. And then in turn, you can take that and help these individuals with a very difficult time in their life.
Yeah. And in closing, it's not just what we're offering. You're bringing a lot of your talent and your resources to the advance, because we've partnered on this. We both have a vested interest in succeeding. So I feel really honored that as part of the dashboard that we're building out on the advance, there's going to be resources available to them that would not be part of the normal program, the standard membership.
Right. And I'm answering just a couple of the final questions here. So I had some people saying, hey, we need some websites outside of CDPE. We're more than happy to help you with that. We work on a lot of different platforms. Just contact me at michaeltritthart.com and we can do that. Ingrid said, can the $399 be paid over time? Yes.
Yeah, use PayPal.
You have that PayPal. PayPal has basically a pay as you go, no interest,
4 payments,
no interest payment option that you can do. Let's see, at what point I'm just trying to scan them here and get as many.
Here's one that says, would the forms be state specific? They don't need to be. Short sales are the same all over the country. So each state has their own addendums and their listing agreements. That's separate and apart. You have to abide by what your state requirements are for taking a listing. But when it comes to the short sales and everything, that's all uniformed across the country. What's state specific is the foreclosure process.
Okay. All right, guys. So we want to value your time. I think we got almost all of the questions answered. If we did not get them answered, contact Tony at support@cdpe.com, his team. If you have questions regarding websites, you can contact me at michael.tritthart.com. I've put that in the Zoom. And then finally, the wait list. Many of you signed up for that for the advanced features. You can go in and register for that to be the first ones who learn about all of the new great things that are coming back to CDPE. Tony, thanks for your time.
Yeah, Michael, can I impose on you for another 2
Sure.
minutes, only because there's a couple of questions here that I think are truly important. Veronica has a great one here. Are we going to be able to help with the negotiation of loan modifications? No, that's the last thing you want to do. In most states, you have to be licensed as a mortgage loan originator to be able to negotiate loan modifications. So check with your state first. I think that as a real estate agent to take on that liability, it's not a good idea. You know, so I think the loan modification should be left to the attorneys. We refer them out. And then when they can't stay and all options are exhausted, we want those individuals to refer them back to us.
Right.
Okay. At what point are we considered eligible for the advance if we're just starting the CDPE course? That's a great question. If you're just starting the course, you're going to be given access to the advance as well. You know, we're not going to say you got to wait until this point. It's going to be something that you'll have access to as well. Don't worry about it. Okay. Yeah. We answered that one. I think that good. You need to know your state's foreclosure laws. Yeah. I think we covered a lot of questions today. This has been an amazing group, Michael. A lot of great questions.
A lot of good questions. And everybody's going to get the recording as well, too. So you guys can always go back, because I know we kind of rattled off the Q&A there at the end, but that was because so many great questions were coming in.
And Tony, that Debbie, I always butcher her last name, Giavaras. Oh my God, she's an OG that'll forget more about short sales than most people ever learn. She's amazing. So she's one of my biggest supporters. So folks, every single one of you on the call, it's going to get tougher out there. But if you equip yourself with the right training, the right skill sets, you're not just going to survive in 2023. You're going to thrive in 2023. It could be your best year ever. Let's do this together.
That's right. Tony, thanks for your time today, your expertise. We appreciate it. Everyone, thanks for so many great questions. We look forward to helping you with CDPE, the designation and the advanced services. All right. Absolutely. Thanks, guys. You'll get the recording very, very soon.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.